Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today for another video. So in this video we're going to be looking at the Zastone ZT-889G. Now this radio has been around for quite a while, but there aren't any proper chunky reviews on this around the internet, especially on YouTube, so I thought I would pick up a couple of handsets and give my view on them. So this is quite a chunky feature pack radio from Zastone. As far as I'm aware, it is manufactured under 3 or 4 different brands, but I've got the Zastone version here, and it is a 10 watt high power dual band 2-way radio. Now 10 watt is the high power setting. It actually does 1 watt, 5 watts and 10 watts. It has 999 programmable memory channels, and it is dual band, so VHF and UHF, 136 to 174 MHz and 400 to 480 MHz. Now depending on where you look, the specs may vary on this. Some sources say that it's 400 to 520 MHz. Why anybody would need to transmit up there is beyond me, so let's just keep this at 400 to 480. Now, 2 of the really good features this radio has is the first one is GPS. Now what this radio does is it transmits and receives GPS coordinates in real time, and that puts in a height and a GPS coordinate. And what you can do is send and receive this between radios of the same type. So you can't do this with other radios, only model to model, so Zastone 889G to Zastone 889G. But you can send and receive your location, and what it will do, it will tell you the difference between the 2 handsets. So we are going to look at that further into the video. So that is quite nice, and it transmits that in real time. So this is an analog only radio. It's not DMR. It's not digital, but it does send that GPS, so that's quite an interesting little feature. And the second one is it has relay station function, which is best known as crossband repeat. So this radio, if you put it up in a high area and set it up correctly, it will act as a crossband repeater, which will close the distance between 2 handsets. I'm sure everybody knows how a repeater works. If not, there's plenty of information online. Just some of the other features: it has a 3000 mAh high capacity lithium ion battery. It's got an LED flashlight, a backlit keyboard, night mode. It's got a 1.77 inch LCD colour screen, and in the package you get the radio itself, the battery, the antenna, the power adapter, belt clip, charger and hand strap, and 2 manuals. So this comes with a English manual and what looks like a Chinese manual, and the manual is quite detailed, which is nice. So just looking around the radio itself, you can see on the side we've got 2 black buttons there. They are programmable function buttons, so I've got these just set to turn the flashlight on and off, but these can be programmed in the software to a multitude of different functions. You've got the PTT button in the middle, and then on the top we've got an orange button which is used for transmitting your GPS position. Now this can be multi-purpose because you can turn GPS off and just use that as a normal function button, but I've got mine set up to transmit GPS. If we look on the other side, you can see we've got a speaker mic port there, and this takes the Kenwood sized, Bofeng sized programming cables and accessories. Now this does require a prolific chip or a prolific USB chip programming cable. I use the cable that I use for all my Bofeng radios on this, and it worked okay. On the back you can see we've got the battery clipped into place. There's battery contacts on the bottom and 2 holes to screw the belt clip on. So just on the top of the radio itself, you can see we've got 2 LEDs there. One is a transmit and the other is a receive indicator. We've also got the flashlight, we've got an SMA antenna port, and we've got 2 knobs. One is the volume and on and off knob, and the other one is a rotary encoder for selecting between different channels. And then just behind that we've got the all-important GPS module. Now I don't know what's in here, whether it's a little antenna, whether it's a separate module, or whether it's just something to show that the radio has GPS, but you can see we've got that on the back there. On the front of the radio we've got the 1.77 inch LCD colour screen, and then we've got a full numerical keypad underneath, and some of the interesting buttons here is GPS on the top left. This allows you to enter the GPS mode and then repeat, and if we press and hold this, again I'll show you properly in a little while, this enters crossband repeat mode. Okay, so the programming software is available from the Zastone website, and it actually shows as the YI889G. So this is programming software developed for another manufacturer that produces this radio, but it still works. And also Chirp supports this radio now as well. So I've just programmed a few demo frequencies here just to show you. So you can see the top one there is my local repeater, GB3MR, and I've put the receive frequency in there, the transmit frequency, the encoded tone, so an encoded CTCSS tone of 82.5, which will send to the repeater to open it, and the rest is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. We've got another repeater here, GB3PZ. I've programmed SU21 here, which is 433525, a simplex channel on 70 centimeters, and as you can see, the receive and transmit frequencies are the same, and we've left any CTCSS tones or DCS codes out. We've got Manchester Airport Tower, the UHF uplink there, which I like to listen to from time to time, so that's just in. And then we've got S20 and S21. So it's just spreadsheet type software. You can type in frequencies really easily and just rename them should you wish to. So we can change that one to 2 meter calling there. And that's pretty much it for programming in frequencies. We've got some configuration settings here in the next menu, so you can go through and change all these to suit you. Virtually everything that's in the menus is covered in here as well, such as timeout, timer, Vox, channel lockout, backlight, PTT IDs, all that sort of stuff is all in here. We've got VFO settings, so you can select where you want your VFO to be sat on. So I've just put mine to the 270 calling channels, and you can select your transmit power, your frequency step here and things like that. We've got key settings, so the first one here I've kept to select call. Now that is the orange button for sending your GPS, so we've left that. We've got the PTT there, which is just the send key, so you don't need to do anything with that. And we've got the programmable buttons at the bottom there, and you can see the different functions that those can be assigned to. And you can see PF3 there is assigned to radio, so that is an FM radio which will pick up between, I think it's 88 and 108 megahertz, so you can listen to broadcast radio as well. Now you can see this handset is named 001 and radio A. Just remember that. The other handset that I have is named to 002 and radio B. Scan group basically allows you to put different frequencies and different channels into scan groups, so you can scan a certain section of frequencies, but we're not going to do anything with that. And if we just look at call settings, you can see there I've got 001 radio A and 002 radio B, and basically that is programmed into both radios so they know which one is sending them GPS info. So if you've got a bank of radios, if you've got another 10 radios, you can assign them all a name and number, and you'll know who is sending you GPS information. And as you can see, the programming software is really quite simple and straightforward. All you need to do once you've finished is click on write, and it will upload that information to the radio. Okay, so before we go out and test the GPS on this and do some radio on-air checks, just to show you how to set up the crossband repeat, basically if we set up two frequencies here, so you can see I've got 433.525. Now there is some interference on there, so we might need to change that. VFOB will change to 145.575. I'm just going to go and change that first VFO. We'll do 433.575. Okay, so that is the two frequencies for crossbanding, and if we hold the repeat button there, that locks both frequencies out, and you can see the little crossband repeat logo has appeared at the side. So if you have two handsets, one on 433.575 and the other on 145.575, they will both talk to each other through the Zastone acting as a repeater. Now, it doesn't work like a conventional repeater, so you don't need to set up or program your other radios. You just need them on that simple VFO channel, and the Zastone will do all the work for you. So if this was on a hill with an external antenna, it's going to give you quite decent coverage. You've basically got a 10 watt crossband repeater. Now, check the legality in your area or your country on doing this. I'm not going to demonstrate this any further because it's not legal for me to do so. It's not illegal to crossband, but to basically have this as a crossband 10 watt repeater wouldn't be legal under my licensing conditions. But basically this on a hill with an external antenna is going to provide you significant coverage, and if both handsets that are out in the field that can't reach each other can get up to that Zastone on top of the hill, they're going to be able to talk to each other and use that radio as a repeater, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go out and we're going to test the GPS. We're going to send my GPS coordinates to each radio, and the reason I'm going to do this away from home is because I obviously don't want to put my GPS coordinates up on YouTube, but we're going to go to Worneth Low, which is not too far away. It's my local high ground for testing radios, and we're going to do a little GPS set up there, and we'll do some on-air testing on the repeaters and on the simplex and see if we can make a contact. Okay, so we're here on Wearmouth Low. I've got radio A and radio B. So as I showed you in the programming software, these are set up basically now to send each other's GPS coordinates. Now obviously I'm not able to test it at a distance because both radios are together, and I haven't got anyone with me today to help test. So what we'll do is we'll click on GPS. So if I show you the radio there now, if I can get that to focus. So if we click on GPS, you'll see that is now searching for my GPS position. Now it can take up to a minute to find the position depending on what signal you have. Now it was finding this before, no problems in the house, so I'm thinking it's probably going to do the same here. We'll just do the same on the other handset. So if we click on GPS, and that one's found it straight away, this one's still searching. Okay, so we've got successful GPS location on both handsets. So it's really hard to show in the car. Okay, so both handsets have now got GPS coordinates. And if we press the up arrow and go to an empty bank, so in bank number 4 there, you can see, if the camera will focus, nothing's been shared there. And then if I press the orange button on each handset, you'll see the radios have sent each other their GPS coordinates. There's actually somebody on that frequency there. So yeah, the radios have now sent each other their GPS coordinates, which is really cool. And if we press exit, it will bring up on a map. You can see in the middle of the crosshairs there, you can see we've got the other radio's location blinking on the screen. Now of course it's right in the centre because the radio is right next to it. But sorry guys, it's really hard to show you in the car, but I hope you can see how easy it is to send the GPS coordinates to each other. So if we just go back, we'll go up to bank 5. I'm just going to press that button again. And you can see we've got real-time GPS coordinates shared there. So how cool is that? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back to normal conventional FM mode, and we'll put a few calls out and see if we can get anyone. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ on 2 meters, M3HHY, calling CQ on 2. Standing by for any calls, M3HHY mobile.
M3HHY, this is G1 UFM.
G1 UFM, good afternoon Simon, 525.
Okay, that's QSY, 145525.
Is this frequency news please, M3HHY?
Nothing heard this end. Nothing heard this end. How's it going? M3HHY, G1 UFM?
Yeah, I didn't even listen, I knew there was nothing on there because I was on here before. Yeah, not so bad mate, just up Wearmouth Low, testing out the Zastone ZT-889G. Very nice radio, it transmits its GPS coordinates over the air, which is quite nice.
Excellent, sounds good, I'll have to look that one up. Yeah, good 5 and 9 here, lovely clear audio, absolutely lovely clear audio. Bit of multipath noise on it, but that could be aircraft or something, just up and down a little bit. Are you in a handheld inside the car, Louis, sir?
Yeah, the usual accurate test conditions, sat inside the car, it's too cold to get out. Actually, it's not too bad, it's 5 degrees, which isn't so shocking. Let me just see if I can send this GPS to you, see if you can hear the data burst. I'm just going to drop key and then I'll send it to you.
I did hear it a chunk, so you sort of try again please, I'll listen carefully. It was like it wasn't a data burst, it was like a little block of 2 seconds of noise. Let me just turn the volume up and listen again. G1 UFM.
Yeah, no worries, I will. It's there is a small data burst there, and then there's a little bit of carrier at the end. Right, I'll drop the I'll let go of the microphone now and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it's good. Can you not carry on talking while you do that? I presume that can that be just the beginning of your over every time if you leave it enabled?
Let's try it, shall we? One sec. G1 UFM M3HHY.
Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, right. So I presume if you have a matching pair of these radios,
Yeah, it does. So it shows the other radio's coordinates. Yeah, it's only radio to radio. Well, the same model to same model, and it shows up on the screen. It plots it on a map. Obviously, what we'll have to do is meet up at some point and do a bit of testing with it, because it's quite an interesting little concept. There's a little GPS module on the back of the radio as well, with the GPS logo on it. But yeah, it plots the other location on like a map in a crosshair, and obviously I can only see it in the centre of the crosshairs because the other radio's next to me. But yeah, right. So when it sent that little data burst, then I could carry on talking. Is that right?
Yes, Roger. Yes, so if you left that enabled, you then, I would do the same with D-Star. If you sort of wait a second before you start speaking, it won't obliterate you. I imagine it's only listening to the data anyway, so it's not going to... You just missed the first chunk of what you said, wouldn't you? It'd be interesting that if you could... very interesting if you, like you say, you could plot that. I know you can obviously do that with other radios as well. But yeah, it can be a bit, if you leave that on and then go through repeaters and etc, it can be, it depends if it's automatic or not. Sorry, I'm waffling here. Because you only do it manually, you can't set it to auto report.
You can't, but you have the secondary PTT. So I'm using the main PTT now, and if I just drop the mic, and that's the secondary PTT there, which transmits the little data burst.
Oh, that is fantastic, mate. That is absolutely fantastic. So you can choose to send or not send it. Excellent, excellent. It doesn't interfere with you at all. I mean, if it's a software refinement, they could just leave that on all the time, because it's not going to cause any issues. It really is hardly noticeable. Pretty good, mate. I like it. M3HY, G1UFM.
Yeah, G1UFM, M3HY mobile returning. Yeah, the only problem is this side it sends a tone. So when you see this video later, you'll see what I mean. There's like a tone that comes out the radio. But yeah, it's quite an interesting little concept. Quite impressed with it. I'm wondering if it'd have APRS. Be any use towards APRS. That could be something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know Chris is very interested with that, with his other radio, and the icon version of it. That's what I was thinking, because you can set that to auto report, and it can actually become a menace. If you're ready, you can sort of set it to send its location every minute or every 5 minutes, and if everyone does that, it ends up with massive congestion everywhere on D-Star. Yeah, I shall let you go, Lewis, and see if you can get anybody else. M3HY, G1UFM.
Yep, no worries, Simon. Well, I'm going to go back now and do some editing and put all this together. But cheers for the test. It was Andy, you were on there. I was putting some calls out on MR, and obviously I knew you were, well, I thought you'd been in work now, so that was a nice surprise to catch you. But yeah, good to speak to you, and I'll say 7-3 for now, and we'll catch you further down. M3HY mobile, all less cold, going clear. So while I was at Werneth-Low, what I did was left the radio on at home recording. I actually recorded the little data burst on the transmission when the radios send each other the GPS, and you can hear a very, very short, sharp data burst at the beginning of the transmission. Okay guys, so that is the Zastone ZT-889G. Hope you enjoyed this video. A really interesting radio. I'm looking forward to getting out there and playing with this some more. GPS seems to work quite well, and the crossband repeat seems to work well as well. Again, like I said, just check the legalities in your country or area on that. It may not be legal for you to do, but it's a feature there should you need it in an emergency. So yeah, really happy with the radio, happy with how it performed. Very, very similar to the Wuxun KG UV8D and the 9D, if any of you remember those radios. They've been out quite a little bit longer, but just some of the menu functions and the feel of this just reminds me of those radios, so that's quite interesting to note. On the whole, quite impressed with them. I think they're very, very rugged, weighty. Not sure how they would reactor being dropped or submerged in water. That's not something we're going to test because they're not advertised as IP67 or anything like that, but it definitely seems like quite a rugged, heavy and weighty radio, so I don't think there'd be any problems if you did drop this from sort of a reasonable height. So yeah, I'm going to leave this one there, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, suggestions or questions, drop them in the box below. Links to this radio are in the description, and all that's left to say is 7-3. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.